you're looking for a lightweight RV for a couple with a slide, plenty of space, and beautiful white interior, then folks, look no further than this one right here, which is a 2021 Keystone Hideout 179RB. The 179RB is not only light in weight, but it has a light interior. You can see they did a good job with the cabinets. It's white, right? That's what people have been asking for, is lighter interiors. People are sick of, constant browns. There's everything being washed out in brown. So while when we go around, you will see that they still do have some darker browns, they accented them very, very well with enough white in here that it's a good contrast. And again, it does bring a lot to the RV, and I just think it's aesthetically pleasing. It's nice to look at. We'll start here in the kitchen, right up top. Again, that white cabinetry. They went with like an oil rub bronze pull, which I think was a good choice, especially with the rest of the brown accents they have in here. This is closed off because your control panel will be on the other side. If we take a look, you will see that right here. So nothing too crazy, but again, power awning, we'll see that when we go outside. This one does have a slide out. When I say it's light on weight, we're under 3,700 pounds as equipped, and that is with a slide out dinette, which you can see how much space this opens up. Now that's nice not only because it's a bigger interior and more space to walk around in, but also if you have a dog that comes with you, a lot of times, if you don't have a slide, it can be a little tight, and they don't have a great spot to lay without being underfoot. But when you have the slide out, it does give them all this space, they can lay down and you can still walk by, get to the bathroom, whatever else you need to do. We take a look at the kitchen here. You kind of have the upgraded countertops. They got rid of T-mold, and it's kind of like a gray wood, a grayish, I guess you could call it, a gray beige, right? But it is an upgraded countertop, single basin sink. This is one thing that I'm not super in love with, right? They did a lot of things right in here. I think they nailed a lot of things. For me, this one is a fail. Not because it's a single bowl. I think in this size countertop, you're really restricted to a single bowl, and that's fine. It's just, and the composite doesn't even kill me. It's the fact that it's very shallow. I can't fit much more than a short glass in here, a little bowl, and it's going to be popping up and out. And you have this really nice pull-out faucet, which is not very common in this size RV. That's definitely an upgrade over what you normally get. But, you almost need it to be able to wash anything in here, right? I guess I would have just liked to have seen a little bit deeper sink. Maybe when we go down below, maybe we can't because of storage constraints, whatever else it may be. But, I guess, again, I just wish it would have been a little bit deeper bowl there. Over to this side, 2-burner cooktop. It is in the horizontal orientation rather than vertical, and I think that's a good choice. Because that way it is easier to use both burners. You don't have to reach over one to get to the back one. And, if you have a pot here, in the back sometimes it can be a little close to the wall. This won't be an issue there, so plenty of space. So I think they did that right. Electrical outlet over to the side, it is worth pointing that out. Of course, above the cooktop is your hood and your microwave. As we jump down underneath, you'll see there, and again, when I talk about a deeper sink, you have the room here, right? Like, you could have made it a little bit deeper, but I digress. What they did nail down here is the fact there's enough room for a trash can, and if you know me, you know how much I hate having my trash bag hang from a pole. It's annoying, it stinks, I have to see it. If you leave and you have a dog, they might be tempted to rip into there and see what's in there, but you're able to tuck it away underneath and out of the way, so I do love that they didn't put a shelf in there. They kept that open. I do appreciate that from the manufacturer. I think they nailed it there. 2 full extension ball bearing drawers, so you have enough room for not just your flatware, but any, hot pads, towels. If you have some larger, like serving spoons, spatulas, things like that, you have space for it. Your refrigerator will run off both propane and electric. It has automatic switch over, plenty of space there. And again, they went a little bit darker here. The white wood around, a little bit darker, kind of that contrast. You can see it also matches the door that they have there. And I think that was a smart move. I think if you had white panels, it might wash out the kitchen a little too much. Right down underneath is your direct vent furnace. In a travel trailer this size, that's more than enough. It'll keep it nice and toasty in here. Thermostat for that will be located right there. There's a roof-mounted AC on this unit. It's up, I'll show you in a little bit later here, but the controls for it are on the AC itself. It's also worth noting that this is where your tank monitoring panel will be located. Sometimes they put it in the bathroom in a smaller RV like this. This one is located here. Your water pump is there, as well as your heater, and then of course your tank monitoring and battery monitoring panel. In the very back is the bathroom. It is a rear bath as far as space. you know, if I'm sitting right here, it's a little tight for my legs, you know, with the door shut. I mean, this one isn't bad because the wall here, my left one it's a little tight. If you're a tall person, you know, if you're 6'3", 6'4", or taller, you may struggle a little bit with the legs. So I would recommend coming in, taking a seat here, see if it's going to work for you. I mean, I can make it work, no problem. But again, if you have long legs, you may run into a wall issue. Other than that, though, clearly more than enough shoulder space. Over to the side, the shower. This is a very common issue with RVs this size. When you start getting into, you know, the 17s, the 18s, the 19s, you know, even the 20 foots. A lot of times, you know, you're going to have smaller shower heights, and that's what I have here. At 6 foot, I do have to bend down. So again, if you're a little bit taller, this may be a struggle. If you're shorter than that, no worries whatsoever. And honestly, you know, it's not a make it or break it for me. I don't spend a ton of time in my RV showering. I usually use campground facilities if they're available. You know, it's just something that if I have to take a quick shower or whatever, or wash my feet off after, you know, going to the beach, or, you know, need to wash the kids down real quick, it gives me that option. But you know, if it is something that is a make it or break it for you, just know, again, that's something you're going to want to test. Now, one thing I do love, and I think they nailed it here, is the big countertop. You have a ton of countertop space here, which is wonderful. So, you know, if you need room for your toothbrush and your hair dryer and flat iron, whatever else, you have all the space there. Of course, electrical outlet over to this side. It is just a flat panel mirror instead of a mirrored medicine cabinet. I would have preferred a medicine cabinet here just because you have the room for it. You know, I mean, you do have some decent storage underneath as well. But again, right, like I want to spare all this for like my toilet paper, my towels, things like that. You know, I don't want to have to put, you know, some of my like medication, or you know, if I have like an extra toothbrush, floss, stuff like that. I don't have any drawers in here. And so for some of those smaller items, I really would have liked the medicine cabinet, again, or just a drawer. I mean, again, not that, I mean, I can buy a little plastic separator and put it in there, but I just would have liked, again, just that medicine cabinet. Then on our way out, again, as I mentioned, one of the big pushes toward this one of the things that's really great is the fact this one does have the slide out. It is a raised slide out, which in this size, once again, is very common because to do a flush floor, you have to raise up the entire RV. You're getting higher heights overall. And not only is that going to add weight, but it's also going to add height, just making it harder to tow. When you're talking lightweight units, that is definitely not something you want to do. And realistically, folks, it's a pretty small step up. At 6 foot, you can see, you know, I can still easily clear the slide height here. Once again, if you're taller, you know, if you have a big torso, tall torso, you're going to want to slide in here. Make sure this is going to work for you because, you know, there's not a lot of space that's not underneath the slide out if you're sitting in the dinette. But I personally am great. You know, there is more than enough room for another person here. The table's nice and large, so, you know, I can easily set 4 plates here and still be able to have a meal. It does, of course, drop down into a bed, but as I always mentioned, the majority of your standard dinettes don't make a very big bed. There's some out there that do, don't get me wrong, but the majority of them will not. It's going to be more for a child, or, you know, if you want to curl up a little bit, you can manage it, but probably not the number one place I personally would want to sleep. If we drop down, I'll open this up. You can see, of course, a little bit of storage area, and that's just a nice addition. They didn't have to put that in there. It's kind of cool they did. I do wish they would have had an electrical outlet. You know, I mean, you have one here, but again, it's kind of over out in the way. I would have liked one to have one in the dinette itself, just because, you know, if you do need to plug in a laptop or tablet or something like that while you're sitting there, you know, you can kind of use that as your mobile office, and again, to have to drag it out and around is just kind of a pain. Not a huge deal. Again, that's not a make it or break it for me, but just one of those things I personally would have liked to have seen. Right up on the ceiling here is your AC. It is a GE unit. You can see the controls, again, are located right on the AC unit itself. Up front, you will have, we'll open this up, you'll see the hanging rod, so you have a place to hang your clothes. On both sides, nightstands, electrical outlets, USB ports, opening up the bed, and you will see storage underneath. So what you will notice is this one right here is boxed off. I am going to guess, this is a guess, but I'm going to guess that is the fresh tank, simply based off the fact that there's no venting, so it's not going to be your water heater, because that would have to be, you know, have to be vented on the outside. And again, there's some other manufacturers that's where they put them. So Don't necessarily quote me on that. I would have to take a panel off to verify. If you own one and you know for sure, make sure you leave it in the comments section so everyone else knows, but I'm going to guess that that is what they put there. If we take a look up here on the wall, this is where the TV is located. And I'm starting to see more and more of this, and I comment just because I don't know. I don't know. I know why manufacturers are doing this because it saves money, but you know, I really wish they would put an actual backer in the wall so I can put a normal wall mount here, because otherwise you have to buy a special like drop mount or some kind of specialized mount to be able to fit a TV. Not that TV is a huge thing, but if you want a TV, just bear that in mind. And maybe there's something else out there. Again, if you own this RV and you've installed a TV, please let me know in the comment section, you know, what you've used. I'd be very curious and kind of curious as to what the cost was on that as well. You know, just because for personal preference, so that I have a little bit more in-depth knowledge, because other than buying, you know, like a $150 drop mount, I'm not sure what else you'd use. Now that we've seen the insides, take a look at the outside of the 2021 Keystone Hideout 179RB. You'll see you have your 20-pound propane tank right up front there, rails behind that for the battery. You'll also see that this one is it's prepped for solar. So if you want solar prep, you can see that it's nice and easy to hook up, and that of course will trickle charge your battery. The connection for that is right over here to the side, in case you're wondering. Simply buy the portable panel, plug it in right there, and again, as I said, it'll trickle charge. 3-year warranty on there, folks. That is currently one of the best in the industry. Coming around to the side, we'll take a look at our pass-through. So you can see there, it is a full pass-through, same size door on the other side, and it is pretty big. Again, for the size of camper, there's no issues there. You can fit some larger items in. Not a huge opening, but it's also not a small opening. This is something else that I like. You know, this is a little bit smaller RV, but it sometimes doesn't hurt to have extra vision. And this one is prepped for the side view cameras to help cover those blind spots when you're towing. So if that's something you're interested in, do know that this one has the prep for it. Power awning with LED lights right up top. Of course, you push a button to roll that out. Same thing to go right back in. Now, with this setup, you do have to be somewhat careful just because the door. So if your awning is extended, you know, this is a friction hinge door, which is great because it just kind of stops where you put it. But, you know, without having this strut there, you will see that it can open all the way up into your awning. So just be careful that you're not flinging the door open, banging it into your awning. The solid steps right down below are wonderful, just as the name implies. They are very solid. You know, you can hop on these things. I mean, I'm well over 200 pounds and getting heavier by the day. But, you know, you'll see that there's hardly any flex in there whatsoever, which is great. And it also has the aluminum treads, so it's not going to rust. Grip tape in case it's a little damp or wet. And those, of course, just fold up in the doorway when you're done. The smaller grab handle, you know, with the 2 steps, you can get away with it. With the smaller grab handle, I, of course, always like the larger foldable ones. But, you know, that's not going to kill me. I can make it work. If that is a concern for you, just know that you can have those installed aftermarket. So if you have bad knees, you know, where it's just a little bit hard for you to go up and down steps, you can certainly get a foldable grab handle installed after the fact. You'll also notice this right here, and this is kind of a double purpose. So one is it's a spot to put a leash. So again, if you have a dog and you need a spot to tie them up, you can do that there. Also, it is a bottle opener, which I personally find extremely handy. So if you need a spot to crack open a cold one, it gives you the capability to do that. Electrical outlet right outside there, making our way back and around. We'll drop right down below. You'll see this one has the square tubular bumper, so that way you have a convenient spot in which you can store your sewer hose. Right here is your spare. Of course, this does make it very easy to access. And if you take a look up top, not only do you have the side view camera prep, you also have the backup camera prep. So that will give you a ton of vision to make sure you're not going to hit anything when backing up again, or the side cameras will help as you are traveling down the road. 30 amp power cord right there, just pull it out, plug it in, good to go. Right down underneath is your termination with both black and gray tanks. You'll see this slide out. This is your Schwintech worm gear slide system. Works wonderfully, folks. With this slide system, the one thing I will tell you is you want to make sure you have good voltage. So make sure your battery is topped off or you have shore power. And then what you'll want to do actually when you run these in or out, just hold it for a couple seconds, both in and out. And the reason I say that is because there's 2 motors, and when you hold it at the end, so you'll have it come in, you'll kind of hear a vroom, vroom. and then you can let go. You're not going to hurt anything by holding it for 5-6 seconds. It's actually better for it because it will sync those two motors up, and that will be when you retract it as well as extend it. If you do that, you shouldn't have any issues with the slide. It really is a great slide system. Making our way up a little bit further here, you will see your water inlets, the front one being your fresh tank fill, rear one, of course, city water inlet, and once again, you have the side camera prep. If you take a look at weights, we can see that right up here. So just to kind of show you, so as I said, under 3,700 pounds on this one. Your GVWR is 4,480, so that gives you roughly what? Oh man, math quick. 800 pounds, something like that ish, plus minus 50 pounds. As far as cargo carrying capacity on a camper this size, that's honestly probably all you'll need. All right, folks, and that wraps it up. Again, this is the 2021 Keystone Hideout 179RB. If you're interested in this lightweight travel trailer and you would like price and availability, simply click on the link in the description. Also in the comments section, let me know what you think they nailed, what they failed, and if you were designing this RV, what you would change. Thanks again for watching, folks. I'm Ian Baker, and let's go camping.